That was,
I have a question for you.
yes.
I'm curious if you ever experience any, for lack of a better word, any trouble with your gifts, and if so, what do you do to dance with it or to remedy it?
Hmm. Yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily say like trouble with them, but I just different phases where it's like sometimes my channel will be so open and it's like I'm not intentionally opening or activating or trying to talk to any of these ascended masters or guides, but it's just happening. It's just happening. This idea, this song, this verse, this post, this everything, this video. It just is like overflowing. And that's like when my channel is like activated. And then there's other periods of time, like the week after, where I just feel like chilling. And it's like I
Yes.
could for sure tap in and channel right now, but resting and just kind of like being feels so much better. And so that lack of inspiration could be perceived as like, because I've observed subconsciously a part of me be like, wait, should we be worried about this? Should we judge ourselves? Is this a bad thing? Is something wrong? Am I out of alignment because I don't have this overflowing creative energy? And it's like, no, this is nice. Let's just chill. And
Yes.
when I like, so the answer to that is what do I do? I never resist it. Like whatever I'm experiencing. And I've even experienced actually a period of time where it was like 2 years ago where it felt like my guides and my angels gone. Like just like no one would talk to me. No one, no one
Mm.
would talk to me. No one would answer the call, voicemails. I would call nonstop and no one would answer me, it felt like. And no one would call me either. And it
Mm.
just felt kind of like empty in the higher realms because it's usually pretty prominent or energetically significant when I feel a channel or an energy come through. It's very, very, very significant and energetically uh, like impacting. And for that period of time, I felt like I experienced nothing. I was still able to, of course, like be positive about things and be myself, but it wasn't the same. And in that time, there was a period where I was like crying and I'm like, please talk to me. Like, why? I do so much. I'm trying so hard. And I found that that was actually necessary because it allowed me to purge an energy of not asking for help and for having to do everything on my own all the time. Because although I consciously know I don't have to do everything on my own and I can't do everything on my own and I don't want to do everything on my own, but there's that subconscious survival mechanism that I experienced from childhood. It's like saying that.
Hmm.
So there was this energy that I needed to purge, finally allowed it to purge. And a huge, huge creative energy, a major project that I ended up creating came right after that. And it's like the energy came through too. After like, it
Mm.
took like a few months though. It's like 2 months, I feel like a significant period of time. So it was like I allowed myself to have that purge and then I just released. And then I just like let it go and didn't fight it. And I find that that's always the answer. And so now, and then it came back and now it's been and it's high and I'm here and it's yay and it's better than ever and it was better than ever. That's actually what happened. And that's always what's happening when we
Yes.
experience like these like pullbacks or we forget. It's like just so we can remember. Like we come back to this space, we move away from this space and come back to this space to recalibrate. We're recalibrating
Yes.
in that movement. We're building, we're strengthening, we're adapting.
Perfectly said. I love that. I love that. Yeah, and
How about
one of
you?
the yeah, no, yeah, I've definitely had moments of that as well, which I'll speak to, and but what I was going to say is like one of the reminders that just came in is the reminder that you are your gifts, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we are the gift from God, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and this is definitely something that I sway in from time to time because it's like if I were to give an analogy for my gifts, it's like experiencing myself as the sun and the rays of my shine are what I experience as my gifts. And then there's the remembrance that I sway in and out of like, and I am the gifts, right? And I am that gift from God. And because sometimes, it's the gift of our humanness that is most needed from those who are around, as opposed to our spiritual ability and so on. Like sometimes they just need our humanness to
Yeah.
receive whatever they most need to receive. and other times they need that celestial flow.
Right.
But I could absolutely remember times. There's two stories in particular that really stand out to me. I remember one time. This was when my gifts were really first really coming online back in 2012, and I was teaching energy and intuition classes to show other people how to activate their gifts.
Mm.
And because this was all new to me, and like I was constantly in communication with spirit guides, I started to develop. I started to put my spirit guides on a pedestal as if they were better than me.
Mm.
And ultimately, like I always share, the purpose of our guides is to make us a better guide of ourselves, right? It's not to take our power away. So I remember one class when I was teaching, I went to tune into my guides and they just weren't there. And this was like the first time that this ever happened. And I was, I started to panic and I didn't know what to do. And I didn't know if I should end the class. And then so through humility and just vulnerability at some point, I figured out I'm like, all right, well, I was still able to do things before I had guides telling me what to do. So I just spoke from my heart and I used my heart strength. And as soon as I started to do that, all of a sudden, then my guides came back in and they were like, that's what we wanted you to see. We don't want you to place us on a pedestal. We are equals.
Mhm.
So they will play games like that sometimes just to help you see things.
Right.
And so that was a really powerful lesson for me. I never forgot it.
Wow.
And yeah, and another time, this was actually this past January. This was probably the darkest time of my life where I was going through lots of death experiences. My cat had just passed away and there was just lots of death manifestations happening around me. And so I was in a really dark space. I was at my brother's house in Toronto, and it was the first time in my life that I had no sense of, forget about sensing my gifts and channeling and all that stuff. I didn't even have a sense of the divine. I didn't have the sense of the divine. I didn't have a sense of God, which that's never happened to me in my life since I was a kid. I've always had that sense of the divine of God. I was in a space where all that sounded like fairy tale.
Wow.
And I didn't know if I was like, have I been making it up all this time? Like I was in one of those zones. And so it literally felt like starting from the darkest space from scratch and learning how to find my way back. Cause it's like, I feel like life was reteaching me the basics. I had climbed the ladders so high, and now it was just like, okay, if you're going to be teaching this stuff, David, you got to remember the basics again.
Yeah.
And so I went through it for a good couple of weeks, maybe longer. I don't remember exactly until I eventually realized that step one for me was stop resisting life. I was in such a resistance to life, to getting kicked out of America, to this happening and that happening. And, so because I was resisting life, that means I'm also resisting truth. And if I'm resisting truth, that means I'm resisting the truth of my divinity and the truth of my own gifts. So it all goes hand in hand. And so that was a really great eye opener and lesson for me that hopefully people could take some things out of.
Yes. Oh, so powerful. And yeah, like here you are, glowing, shining, embodying a new energy, completely rebirthed, reborn, integrated so many new codes and like perspectives. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everything's always working out best case scenario.
Best case scenario. Better and better.
Yes.
Yeah.